Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and this is going to be part 2 of the little T1000 revisit. And I'm making it on the same day as I made part 1. Basically what happened is I finished that video off this morning and I've been out doing various things during the day. I've been over to see my mate Andy over at Vintage Electronics Repair and had a chat with him. And I come back, and just before I'd left I'd set the video that you probably watched before you've watched this video. I set that rendering on the computer here behind me, and then when I come home it had finished rendering, so I started it uploading onto YouTube. And I remembered that I'd actually left the T1000 plugged in, and not expecting anything really. I opened it up, I switched on. It come up like before, and I was expecting it just to die off again, but it counted up through all its RAM. There we go, and the floppy drive seeked, and there we go, it's booted. So it's sat. I mean, I can't understand this really, because I say I had that battery on a bench power supply on a current limited charge for quite a few hours, and I mean the battery was actually getting warm. I was probably slightly overcharging it. It wasn't getting red hot or anything, but it was getting quite warm. I let that cool down, and like I said, you saw in the previous video when we tried it again in the computer, it wouldn't power it. I've left it on its own charging circuit for what, 6-7 hours, something like that, and it's fired up. Anyway, what I'll do, I'll just reposition the camera so you can actually see the computer properly, and we can actually get to see if the repair works. The disk drive has indeed worked, and whether we can read and perhaps format a disk in it again. So I'll just get us reset and we'll be back in a sec. But I'm really hoping the contrast is good enough that you can actually see the display here. But if you can't, let's just see if I can just perhaps adjust that. It's really difficult to see looking at the little screen on the camera whether it's that's probably about the best I can actually get it. Anyway, the computer's booted up. As you can see, we've got Toshiba personal computer, MS-DOS version 2.11. That's a really interesting thing about the T1000. It actually has DOS 2.11 in ROM. So it's, as you can see, it's actually booted up to a C prompt, but that's actually a C prompt. It's actually a ROM. You cannot do anything to that. All you can do is boot the operating system from it and use the DOS commands that are built in. Like I said, you can't format that drive, you cannot copy anything to that drive, but it does actually, like I said, it does actually have MS-DOS built into the computer, which I think is really quite kind of cool. Let's take a disc and let's see whether we've actually got the in fact, what can we put in there? We'll put that one in. This might actually run. Let's go to A:, enter, let's type a dir. As you can see, the disk drive's actually active. There we go. Just read the directory. Let's try this. I don't know whether this is actually going to be able to run on this computer. In fact, I'm not even 100% sure if this disk still works. Right, let's just try this. As you can hear, the disk drive is definitely working again. And obviously loading something like this is putting a fair bit of load on the battery. Yeah, I think I definitely am going to have to look at replacing that battery, but I did have a look online and for 4 1.2 volt C cells, reasonably decent ones, not from some unknown Chinese vendor, I was looking around about the £20 mark plus postage, and I can't really justify that on this computer at the moment. There we go. Oh, and the battery has just finally died in it, but at least we've proved, yeah. So obviously, like I said, it's all that disk activity from loading the game. Obviously, like I said, the battery is still bad in it, but at least we've been able to prove that the disk drive works. You've seen the computer actually powering up, so we have definitely fixed the disk drive issues in it. I'm just gonna have to sort something out for the batteries now, because yeah, it's obviously, it is working better than it was. Like I say, after being left for that amount of time, it had managed to regain a charge in the batteries, but loading that game, obviously, like I said, was too much for them. It has completely depleted the batteries, I think, and that's why it's switched itself off again. Like I say, I'm sure if I leave it another 6 or 7 hours, it might actually fire back up the same. But I do need to get some new batteries for it. Or I was looking at the supercapacitor route, but I'm not sure whether it's going to be good enough when the actual, like I said, when it's actually accessing a floppy disk. I am probably going to have to bite the bullet and fork out £20 plus postage for some brand new C cells for this thing. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. Like I said, this was just a quick little update. I was going to do a little bit more, but seeing as the battery has actually gone now on it, I said we can't do that. But at least it's, like I said, at least that has proved that everything is working apart from that battery pack. It is just basically worn out. I did make it out of some cells I'd salvaged out of the drill battery, and the drill battery itself was not in A1 condition. You know, it was one that had been retired because it wasn't really holding a charge very well. And I basically salvaged the best 4 cells I could find in the battery and used them to make that battery pack up. But it looks like I will have to bite the bullet and actually fork out for some brand new batteries for it. They used to be really cheap subsea night cards, you know. I think I used to get like 4 of them for £5, perhaps £6 maybe, but now, like I said, for anything that looks even halfway reasonable, you're looking at £20 plus postage. Anyway, like I said, we'll leave it there for now. I hope you enjoy this little impromptu update on the project. So, thanks for watching and goodbye.